so much of this propaganda, in the campuses, in the universities, in the press, in the social media, that people then take them seriously. And then they do this horrific thing that they did to Charlie. It's just horrific to see it. And this is the battle we're fighting. They're trying to basically snuff out democracy, snuff out free speech, kill those who speak, like Charlie. I mean, who spoke, he said, come, debate me. He didn't say, bring a rifle. He said, bring your arguments. I'll defeat your arguments with fact and logic. That's what Charlie stood for. And these people are the exact opposite. They speak of human rights, but they trample all human rights to the dust. And the first right that we have is the right to live. They want to kill us. They try. And I think that that could have a very, very negative effect unless Americans, like Israelis, stand up to this and say, no way, no way. We're not going to surrender to this barbarism and to this murderous, attempt to wipe out our civilization and our freedom.
You're talking about the people who are actively doing that, but there's another category, and that's who look the other way. And for the life of me, I can't figure out why Qatar gave a home to Hania, who was dirt poor until he started stealing money from the UN. And then when he was eliminated in Iran, we suddenly discover he had $3 or $4 billion, or the Western world does. And now when Israel goes after these people, these Hamas leaders in Doha, is that, the outrage is at Israel. But until the leaders of Hamas are eliminated, there's no Israeli, there's no Jew who's going to feel safe.
Well, you're absolutely right. Greta, you had September 11th. That was a pivotal moment for you. And after September 11th, America said this: we will hunt the terrorists who perpetrated this, organized it, planned it. We will hunt them wherever they are. And then 2 weeks later, they passed a resolution. I got it here. It's UN Security Council Resolution 1373. And here's what it says: deny safe haven to those who finance, plan, support, or commit terrorist acts, or provide safe havens. Deny safe havens. Well, we had, as you know, we had our own September 11th. It's called October 7th. And on that day, Hamas terrorists who financed, planned, support, and committed terrorist acts, they committed the most savage act of mass murder in the history of the Jewish people since the Holocaust. And they did this based in Qatar. And this UN resolution says you can't do that. You have to take action against states who harbor terrorists, shield them. And they not only give Hania, one of the Hamas leaders, they gave him shelter and everything else and much money. They basically hosted the top leadership of Hamas, where they hatched their murderous plans for additional attacks against us, including the ones I just described in Jerusalem. So what we're seeing is this fantastic cynicism and this, this hypocrisy. There's a UN resolution that says you can't do this. And you're entitled, as America has said over and over again, to hunt the terrorists wherever they are. But they certainly can't be sheltered. They can't be defended in a place like Qatar. And I say this because right now, I think in an hour and a half from now, 90 minutes from now, the UN Security Council is dealing with this issue. And everybody's rolling their eyes and saying, oh, what a terrible thing you did. Well, let's see. When the United States went after bin Laden and Al-Qaeda, they did this in Afghanistan, and they got bin Laden in Pakistan. What did these countries, all these countries that are meeting now in the UN, and they're condemning Israel, right? What did they say at the time? Did they condemn America? Did they say you did a horrible thing because you violated the sovereignty of Afghanistan or Pakistan where you got bin Laden? Of course they didn't say that. Because you're not supposed to harbor terrorists. You're supposed to fight them. And national sovereignty gives no allowance to any state to violate this principle. So they applauded the United States. But when Israel does exactly the same thing, it is being widely condemned. How can we do such a thing so destabilizing? Listen, don't harbor terrorists in your capital, and we won't have to take them out.
Well, I certainly understand you, which is why I brought this particular point up. In fact, I remember when you and I spoke right after October 7th in Israel. We sat down talking. I don't know if you said it to me on camera or off camera, but you said that you were going to get the Hamas leadership and get the ideology. And if Hamas had laid down at that point, we wouldn't be where we are today. That, of course, would not have diminished or relieved what happened on October 7th, but we would not have what we have today.
Well, you're absolutely right, Greta. I mean, look, October 7th, maybe people forget, but we remember what October 7th was. We'll never forget it because Hamas, without any provocation, invaded our territory, butchered 1,200 innocent civilians. They beheaded our men. They raped and murdered our women. They burnt babies alive. And they took hostages, over 250 hostages. We got most of them out, but there's still 20 live ones and about 26 who are unfortunately dead. And this war could end now. Hamas has to lay down its arms, give us all the remaining hostages. Gaza should be demilitarized, and we can start building a different future for the people there and for Israel and for the Middle East. That war could end now. But it isn't ending now because Hamas insists on carrying the war to Israel's destruction. And of course, I don't see any one of those countries, any one of them, the European countries that stand up against us, the Arab countries who, I can tell you, many of them secretly are glad that Israel is fighting their enemies too, because Hamas is part of the Muslim Brotherhood. They are outlawed, actually, in most of the Arab countries, and most of the Arab countries hope that we get rid of them for their sake. So this hypocrisy, this hypocritical game is absurd. Israel did the right thing. Israel did what it had to do. And the best way to avoid having Israel operate in your territory is to not let terrorists operate from your territory against Israel.
I'm planning on trying to talk to you when you're here in New York for the UN General Assembly, because there's a lot more on this I want to talk to. I want to talk about about the countries that stop sending weapons and everything else. But before I let you go, I want you to address one thing, and it's just the absurdity of it. Some of the internet rumors that somehow Israel is behind the Charlie Kirk murder, and I don't believe it for 1 second, but I want you to make a statement. It's so absurd.
That's insane. That's insane. Israel also changes the orbit of the moon. Israel pushes the sun. I mean, the whole thing it's not only insane, I think it's so absurd, so stupid, and so ridiculous. You can't believe that people are saying this. They just found the perpetrator. They'll get to the bottom of this. But they go, they have no limits. When you hate Jews, when you hate the Jewish state, you're willing to say anything and promote all these absurd rumors. And by the way, they're willing to kill us all the time. I mean, that's what they're doing. And over the centuries, when Jews, especially in the Middle Ages, the horrific Middle Ages, the worst things were said about Jews you couldn't possibly believe. We were poisoning the wells. We were drinking the blood of Christian children. You name it. I mean, these things. That continued actually up to the Holocaust. The Nazis said the same thing. We're carrying vermin. We're spreading disease. And people believed it. And every time they believed it, this was a prelude to a greater and greater massacre, culminating with the worst massacre of them all, the Holocaust. Well, since then, we've learned, when people spread these lies about us, prepare yourself for the assault. And, they're trying to delegitimize the state of Israel. Charlie Kirk said to me that, he wrote me this detailed letter, you have to fight the slander. These untruths, these vilifications have consequences. And he was right. But I'll tell you one thing, we're fighting on the battlefield against the terrorists and winning. And he was fighting on the battlefield of ideas. And I think he was winning. He was going to win. That's why they shot him. I hope they don't silence him. I don't think people will give in to these ridiculous lies. But more importantly, I think that his legacy of defending free speech, defending freedom, defending the right to defend yourself, and Israel's right to defend itself, I think this is a legacy that will endure. And I trust that those Americans who are listening to us know what is the real American patriotism, what is the real policy. It's not MAGA. to support Iran and Hamas and Hezbollah and these other killers. It's not MAGA to basically advance those calls to annihilate the Jewish state. It's not MAGA to align with the policies of the ultra-left on Israel. You know, it's this horseshoe effect when you hear, you know, the ultra-left and the ultra deranged people on the right coming together like a horseshoe. That's not what Charlie believed, and Charlie was right.
Mr. Prime Minister, I always enjoy speaking to you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Greta. Talk to you soon.